All right, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you are new here your first time, welcome, and I'm super excited that you're here. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos on legal technology talk. All right, so today we're diving into the world of legal technology where databases, CRMs, and analytics, we're going to converge them to revolutionize the role of a client service coordinator. And this applies to lawyers and paralegals and everyone else in the firm as well. But I'm going to be specific to client service coordinators today. And I'm just going to demystify some of the jargon and empower you with actionable insights, things you can do right away to get moving. So whether you're a seasoned attorney or a client service coordinator or paralegal, you are going to find this helpful. So it doesn't matter if you use Lawmatics, Clio, or MyCase, or Actionstep, or Practice Panther, whatever you use in this topic, it doesn't matter. Of course, we always recommend Lawmatics, but in this case, any of them apply. So how can analytics mixed with legal tech create the perfect balance for a client service coordinator and help them just explode in their role? I'm going to go through it with some examples, and I'm not going to just talk at you today. I'm going to show you real life examples one by one and how each benefits you in your role as a client service coordinator. Many of you have seen the report that I'm going to show you that we have with our PCM overlay and Actionstep and Lawmatics. And if you haven't heard PCM, that's Prospective Client Management. It's a overlay, like I said, in Actionstep and Lawmatics that also generates an amazing Power BI report. But I want to dive in how it specifically benefits the client services role day to day and how to get ahead of things that may come up and address them before they happen, or if they do happen, quickly address them efficiently and effectively. And you can't do that without analytics. So some of this you've seen, but I really want to apply it to the client service coordinator today. So first, we're going to look at the prospective client goal calculator that we have on our website. It's free. Just go on our website, hit success tools, and you can get the prospective client goal calculator. So how can you accomplish something if you don't know the goalpost to hit? The calculator does this for you. So I'm going to show you how this helps the client service coordinator. So let me share my screen, and then I'll open this. All right. So if you haven't seen it before, this is the prospective client goal calculator. It's going to tell you the goals to hit every month in order to reach what you need for your bottom line in the firm that is usually mentioned by the attorney or whatnot. So version 1 was you just need to know how many signed engagement agreements, but now you can also calculate by the revenue that you need every month. So let me do it by the revenue first, and then I'll show you the other part and what these numbers mean to you as a client service coordinator. So let's say your attorney tells you every month you need to, or the firm needs to bring in $45,000. What is the average plan cost? And you say, well, shoot, I don't have a clue. Okay, great. We put a little thing in here for you to calculate that. How many engagement agreements did you do in the past month? So let's say you did 15. And what was the revenue of those 15? We'll say it was 31,000. Your average plan is 2066.67. So you just bring that over and type that in, 2066.67. There's your average plan cost. And it tells you how many engagement agreements you need to reach your goal at the end of the month. Now, this is where it takes you a little bit of homework the first time you do it, and then it gets easier. So the first thing is, does your client do seminars or not? Let's say you do, but you just untick that box. Actually, I'm going to go back here, and you can say calculate by revenue or not. If you just want to put in a number of engagement agreements, you can put that, and then it'll trigger this to go off of that instead. But we're going to do it off revenue. So what you need to do is look in the last 30 days, how many people called, emailed, texted your firm interested in some type of service. So let's say there was 75. How many of those signed up for a workshop? let's say there was 40. How many consultations did you do? Let's say we did 25. How many engagement agreements did you send in the last 30 days? We sent 17. And how many were signed? 14.
Right, 14.
Now, if you look on your new goals, here are your goalposts to hit. So you need 118 initial contacts based on your last 30-day conversions in order to get to your 22 engagement agreements. This is a number you would give to your marketing team. So they can also get that out there to get that number to that point, because you only had 75. And then how many seminar attendees do you need? 63. How many consultations? 40. How many engagement agreements? You need to send 27 and you need 22 signed. Now, let's say real quick, I'm just going to boost these numbers. Let's say you actually had 35 consultations and you sent 27 agreements and 22 were signed. Look at your number. It dropped significantly for the number of initial contacts you need because you have a higher engagement rate. So the lower the engagement rate you have, which we're going to get into, then that's the more initial contacts you need to flood through in order that all those conversions that are dropping them off get you to this 22 number that's going to get you to your 45,000 goal every month that your attorney said you have to hit to make overhead bonuses, whatever they're going to pay, payroll, all of that. So this is now something you should write and put on your desk on a sticky note and have it in front of you at all times. And then the next month, do it again for your previous month. See if your goals changed. Because you want to look at, this is doing your conversions. This is giving you your new numbers. Now you have your goalpost. So you say, well, okay, we need 35 consultations this month and we're only at 21 and it's the 20th. Have a quick team huddle and say, how can we get these additional consultations? And it may be a quick blast of a Facebook paid ad. It may be as simple as all hands on deck, calling your entire pipeline of people that haven't scheduled a consultation and saying, hey, are you ready to schedule? And trying to fill up that calendar.
You smell like gas.
Oh, I was like, I'm sorry.
Hey, I hit it the wrong way. My husband just walked in the door. And he spilled gasoline on him. So sorry.
Okay, so now you have your goalposts. This is important. Bring it to your team meetings, bring it to your marketing meetings, bring it to your professional referral meetings, that when you're talking about who can we reach out, that's another way to get this up. Call your professional referrals. Do you have anybody that needs to get their estate planning done? We happen to have some openings. This is a great time. And sometimes they'll say, you know what? I actually have a couple people. Let me call them. There's many avenues, but you don't know what avenues to hit if you don't even know your numbers. There's your numbers. So if you don't have this calculator yet, get it from our website, ettingertech.com. It's absolutely invaluable. And then, of course, there's instructions for use here. It's pretty self-explanatory, but we wanted to make it really easy for you. So that's the calculator. Go ahead.
I stuck the link in the chat for you, John.
Perfect. Thank you. The next thing we're going to talk about, and I'm going to stop share on here. Actually, I'm not, is calendar. Because you know what you need to hit now. Now that you know your goalpost, now you analyze your calendar and you see where you're at every day. You say, this is where we're at for the month. This is where we're at for the month, the week, the day. If you have our PCM, which is the Prospective Client Management Overlay in Lawmatics or Actionstep, this is done mostly automatically for you when you generate the report. But if you don't, you can absolutely just keep track of how many consultations you have, because you need to have your finger on the pulse in order to hit that revenue goal. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is marketing team, because this is all playing into each other. You need to report to your marketing team every few days where you are throughout the month of what you need versus where you're at. They can't help you if they don't know where you're at. Report to them your referrals and how that's going. And I am going to actually bring this up. Possibly. There we go. So the next couple things are going to be in this report that comes from our PCM overlays in Actionstep and Lawmatics. And some of you have seen this, but again, I'm doing it through a client services perspective. So you want to report to them your referrals. Do we have referrals on here on this test one, Beth? I don't think so.
It is not in that one, no.
No, that's okay.
Yep.
Here's
But
the
it does have
marketing.
the marketing.
This will work. So you need to keep your finger on the pulse. How many client referrals are you getting? And let's drill this down to like, let's say, just this. Oh,
That's not
it's an older report. So, just drill down to what you want and give marketing these numbers. How many client referrals have you gotten? 3. Only 1 has engaged. Or 0, sorry. There's not a lot you can do about that. But you can look at Facebook in the last, let's say this was a week, and say, hey, we got 7 contacts from them and we got 1 engaged. Do you want to look at the ad to see if you can make it more enticing, a better call to action? Let's try and get that number up. And then let them do their thing. Don't micromanage your marketing team. Or when I say team, it could be one person, it could be you, or it could be a marketing team. But this number is really important. Television ad, if you're doing that. And then you can see people that are referring. So let's say Meza Dahlia is a really great financial advisor that you're working with. And you can say, okay, they gave us 2 people, but nobody has engaged yet. Maybe I just need to reconnect with Meza and say, hey, is there anything I can clear up? Because it looks like clients are coming in confused. So let's see if we can set some clear expectations on our end to help your clients. And then same with Kirsten. So you really dial in, how are your referrals and marketing doing? And again, this completely ties into getting quick fixes for quick consultations if you're down on your number of consultations. And then also to look at long-term so you don't slip into a hole of we're at the end of the month and we still need 45 consultations on the calendar. You may not hit it that month, but if your marketing people don't know these numbers, they don't know what to fix. So that's the marketing side of it. Now, excuse me. Excuse me. Now let's talk conversions and why this is important to client services. This isn't just a shareholders meeting of the managers and the attorneys and, you know, all the higher ups at the law firm. This is vital to the client service team. Because if you know your conversions, then you can see where your strengths, where you can strengthen your process. So let's take a look at this, because your goal as a client service coordinator is to ensure the intake process is populating your calendar with workshop registrations and consultation appointments. That is your job. And if that's not the case, then your conversion chart can tell you where the breakdown is. So let's just take a look at this as a client service coordinator. You can say, you know, we're 14 short of a consultation. We're at the end of the month. How do we avoid that next month? So here, let's just, well, I'll leave it wide open so it's got lots of numbers. But let's say this is 1 month. And you say last month we got 1,605 initial consults or contacts. That's how many people contacted us. Immediately, 22 fell out because they were referred out. 43 immediately said they're not interested. But then we got over half going into workshop. Excellent. That's good. Intake call, we usually like to call that like a meet and greet. Those are the people that want to know if they're a good fit for them. So it's like a quick 5, 10, 15-minute call with the attorney to say, hi, my name is attorney so-and-so. And it's not a legal conversation. This is usually just a meet and greet. So this is fine. but then you only have 312 going to consultation. So you can say, wow, the workshop is the way to go. Let's see how we can boost that number. So you see how to get more people in workshop. How do you make it more enticing to maybe get these people to go over here? So instantly I can say 43 refused. Let's say half of those called because of a DUI. Well, we don't do DUI, so that makes sense. But let's say half of them just said, never mind, I'm not interested. How do you get that other half into a workshop? Now you have some information. If you look at workshop to consultation after workshop, you got 260. So you can say, okay, what can I adjust in my workshop to say, or to make them feel compelled to schedule that consultation, not just to get people in there. You don't want to fill it with people that aren't going to engage. That's a waste of the attorney's time, or they're not qualified. So in the workshop, we talked about this a few weeks ago. It's immediate, or it's commenting on things like your price range and setting expectation that they are going to schedule. So throughout the workshop, you're saying, okay, so we talked about powers of attorney, and you can talk about that specifically with the attorney in your consultation that you will schedule at the end of this workshop. You're expecting them to schedule. So using that type of language intermittently throughout, you can think about, how am I getting them to put this in their brain and add one more activity that really locks them in to want to do it. Okay, tell them to get a piece of paper, or hand them a piece of paper if it's in person. And throughout the workshop, say, somebody asks a question, you say, that is a great question. Make sure to schedule your consultation and write that question down to bring to the vision or the consultation. Or throughout, you can say, and everybody's different with powers of attorney. You may want something else, but now you know what they do, the harm if you don't do them. So write down anything you're thinking right now and bring that to your consultation that you'll schedule at the end of the workshop. Now they've actually taken action and written something down. So you really want to analyze your workshop. Again, we talked about this a few weeks ago, but that's immediately going to start getting more of these into the consultation after a workshop. So this is us dialing in every single step and where we see that it could improve. Initial contacts to consultations. There are things you can do. These are usually the people that are just like, I just want to schedule a consultation. I'm ready. The price is fine. It's the people that don't want to pay the price for a consultation that usually fall here in refused. But if you offer a free workshop and then waive the fee for the consultation because they got education, now this meeting will be really easy and it's beneficial to the firm. Then now you have this path to send them and say, yeah, I understand that $5.99 for the consultation is expensive. We have another way. We have a free workshop where you're going to learn about all of this stuff. It's amazing. It really dives into how it affects you and your family. And then once you schedule your consultation, we're going to waive that fee because you took the time to get some education. Boom. Now you've boosted your workshops. And then again, adjusting your workshop language to go into consultation after workshop. Now let's take a look at these two going into second consultation or engaged. How are we doing with consultation after workshop? Mind you, these are fake numbers. So I promise you these numbers are probably much higher with your firm. But your consultation after workshop to either hear or engage is, I would say, 90% chance it is higher than it will be from consultation to engaged, because they in the workshop heard stories that are relevant to them, that really dialed in why they want to do it, that now they feel engaged and they want to engage. Because if you look at consultation to, let me see if I can follow this line.
It's
Boom,
the blue
boom.
one.
Is it this one?
No, that's all your consultations. It's the 52%.
Okay, perfect. It's this one. And like I said, these numbers are really skewed because it's fake data.
Right.
but this number will almost always be higher than them going just initial contacts to consultation and over. Because in this meeting, you're going to spend a lot of time educating. You're going to say, so what are you looking for? Powers of attorney, because I want to do this. Okay, well, that's not what a power of attorney does. And now you go into an education session. They already learned that here. They're ready to move forward. So in Lawmatics, I don't believe we can do this in Actionstep, but we can do this in Lawmatics. You can look as a client service coordinator where the problems are instantly by seeing where are people dropping out. So here we can say initial contacts. They went into follow-up because they weren't ready to do something. So they went into follow-up, 66 fell out right here. And 8 said they're not interested. Here, they didn't respond to your follow-ups. So you had a pretty high number that fell out. But for that high number, that's not bad. Then, how many from intake call? 0 and 0. How many people fell out after workshop? 35 and 9. How many people fell out after consultation? 59 and 22. Okay, well, are we not following up with them? Are we not this? How do we get this fallout number lower in every one of these to get them to the next step? And then once we look at that fallout, adjust how we fix that. So as a client service coordinator, it is absolutely your responsibility to know all of these things through the process and where people are falling out, why they're falling out, and how to stop some of that fallout. You'll never get it to 100%. People are people, and they're just going to, but you can address this. So this is the conversion chart. Now let's talk about the pipeline because that plays into this now. So when you look at who is in follow-up, your pipeline to schedule a consultation or sign an agreement or register for a workshop, many see like 100 or 150 people in their follow-up or their pipeline, and they think it's bad. They're like, oh my gosh, this number is so high. Well, I want to just debunk that real quick. It can be good or it can be bad. It's bad when they are not being followed up with. But because that is money, bonuses, and raises just sitting on the table. It's good when they're being followed up with because that means you have a steady flow of consultations and workshop registrations coming in. It's perfectly fine to have a huge number of follow-ups in your pipeline as long as they're being followed up with. And that's where automations come into play. If you have 1,200 people at all times in your follow-up and it's rotating through, awesome, that's great. As long as your staff can handle that influx, but automations can handle that follow-up. And then you always want a really healthy pipeline. Now let's talk about workshops and consultations. Well, actually, do we have a pipeline? Yeah, we do. So hopefully your pipeline looks different than this. It'll have a lot more, but here you can see your pipeline of consultations and your consultations after workshops. So you can see these pipelines, and then you can see all your initial contacts, where they're at, and how that's going. So you can view all these different things for your pipeline. And this is a go-to in your pipeline when you need some quick appointments on the calendar. Just interrupt the process a little bit. If they got called yesterday, don't call them. But let's say they're not supposed to be called for another 2 days for the next follow-up. It's okay. Call them today. See if you can get that calendar filled up and just bump it forward a little bit. That's okay. Your pipeline is a great way to fill up your calendar, as are your professional referral sources. Pick up the phone and call them. All right, workshops and consultations. So once a prospective client leaves a consultation or a workshop, what is the next step? Do you know that? And how are you handling them effectively and efficiently? You want them to either sign an engagement agreement from a consultation or from intake to schedule a consultation from a workshop. If you don't have a way to track that in an efficient way, this will always fall through the cracks. Does your workflow in your CRM, whether it's Lawmatics, Actionstep, MyCase, Clio, whatever it is, does it have a way for you to track if they were a no-show at the workshop? Because those no-shows, you're not going to just say, okay, never mind. They're going to go into a follow-up and you're going to get them into another workshop. If they were a cancellation, you're not going to say, okay, never mind. You're going to put them into follow-up to get them into another workshop. If they showed up, you are absolutely going to put them in follow-up to schedule a consultation. It's best to have them schedule at the workshop because it's front of mind, but they have to go into follow-up. And do you have a bucket for each of those three things that is easy to access, easy to see, and then easy to follow up with? These reports absolutely show you that. Let me look at the health check. So if you look at a health check, the first thing you can see is how many people are on no stage. That means they're not on a step in the process. If this says 15, you have 15 people you're not following up with. Or if they're on an intake step, which is just a beginning step and it needs to go into follow-up, 8 people, these 8 people are not being followed up with. And then let's say we go to workshop. 180 people have attended a workshop and they're still sitting on that step. They are not being followed up with. Do you have a way to look at these numbers? Does this one have a drill down, Beth? It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, they should all have drill downs. Right click on the number. No, not that. Right click.
Oh,
Right
there
there.
it is. Okay, so if I want to see how many are workshop past due, they're sitting on a workshop step, but the workshop is already passed. Here's all your people. Get them to the right step and let your automation kick it in, or start getting on the phone and start calling these people. Get them into consultations. Same with initial consults. 60 people have attended a consultation and they're still sitting on the consultation step, which means they haven't been moved up to a follow-up to send an engagement agreement, follow up with if they're ready. So this is your buckets to say, how are we doing? Are they being moved? And how is our follow-up doing? Because here you can see post a workshop, post follow-up, I have 403 matters. Consultation post follow-up to get him into an engagement agreement, 249. I have 182 people that called and they're not sure what they want to do. Get on the phone with these people or let your automation start following up. These are calendar appointments. And then the same consultation. Did they cancel their consultation? 54 people. You don't want those 54 to fall through the cracks. Get on the phone, get them back on the calendar. This is why numbers are so vital to a client service coordinator. I was a client service coordinator for years. And once we got this dialed in, my life was so much easier and things were organized. I could tell anybody at the drop of a hat, yeah, we've done 14 consultations this month. We still need 42. You just know these because you're living in these numbers. So, I just want to reiterate, if you don't have a way to track all of this that is an efficient way, it's going to fall through the cracks. We have some companies that are letting millions of dollars fall through the cracks every year because they have follow-up list of 2,500 people that came from 2021. These people have mostly moved on. So a lot of those people, it's just a lost cause. And the lesson from that is don't let it happen again. So let's just summarize. The client service role is the motor, the engine, the powerhouse of the firm. You are the ones who control the calendar, the flow of clients, and keeping the calendar full without overwhelming the paralegals and attorneys. You are the ones who should know the numbers of the firm at any given time and be able, I'm going to stop the share because that's just, we don't need that. But you should know these numbers at any given time. And you should be able to understand what those numbers mean and how they can keep the firm running smoothly and boosting the conversions to intake to consultation. anybody can look at a report. It's the client services responsibility to be able to understand those numbers and what to do with those numbers to improve. That is the role of the client services. You should be the Google Analytics of your firm, a walking metric that can know where the firm is at any given point. You should know what is strong and what can be corrected in the firm just from the conversions chart. You should be the one to gather the team to address those issues and make that part better, and then watch the trend to see if that corrected the issue. I know client services coordinators, they feel used, abused, and stepped on. I get it. I've done it. You are absolutely the gum under the shoe of the firm. I understand. It sucks, but it's also amazing because you have the power to make it easier on yourself and the firm, being the motor, the engine, and the drive behind the firm. Do you want to add anything to that, Beth?
Yes, I do. And sorry, John, that I didn't tell you this first. But I just discovered something, and so I'm going to give you all a birthday gift from me. The Power BI report that John was showing you is a report that comes out of Actionstep or Lawmatics. But I want to show you this because in Lawmatics, we talked a little bit about the custom dashboard. We can put your report in the custom dashboard.
That's awesome.
So that you can truly have this
That's
information
excellent.
at your fingertips at any point. You don't need to go somewhere else to open it up to get it. It can be embedded in your Lawmatics. So
okay,
I just wanted to give you all that gift that I just found literally a couple minutes ago. I was playing. So yeah.
That is pretty cool. And I just want to add on to that you can absolutely make it bigger because my eyes
yes, you
suck.
can. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
You can make it half the screen if you want.
Right.
But that is absolutely amazing. If you are in Actionstep, we have a way to put this in your Actionstep too, that there's a Power BI report matter. You go in there and the report is right inside Actionstep. We've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah. So I'm really happy about that. So sorry I had to share that with everybody because it was really exciting. To have your numbers right at your fingertips, that's very important.
Thank you, Beth.
That is pretty awesome. All right, so in the chat, we have a lot of chat. Let's see if there's any questions.
I'm just
Beth.
here in
Happy
amazement.
birthday, Beth.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, Robin said, is this something you'll be sharing with us?
I put the link in there for her.
Perfect.
Yep.
Client service director is the same thing. Everybody calls it. Some people will call it the intake coordinator, the director of first impressions, the admin. It just depends on your firm size, how your firm is built, and what the titles are. But it really is the person that's in communication with the clients, doing the follow-ups, doing all of that. That's who I'm speaking to. Here's the link to set the goal calculator. Okay, Beth addressed that with it would be the same. Cool, thanks, Beth. Super cool. Awesome. I have to run. Thank you. Robin, if you watch this in the future, so glad you came. This is amazing, as if you created the entire presentation for our firm. I'm loving this. Maurice.
It's very true. Yes, it's very true. It's unbelievably true.
So
Yeah,
it's just
it is.
all about
It is.
knowing your numbers, because you can't make improvements logically without. And like I said, I'm not talking about the shareholders meeting of the bigwigs of the law firm. I am talking about the client services making logical steps day to day, every day, improving and communicating. Your two big communications are with the marketing team and with your client services team. Those are your two big avenues to just keep moving forward and just be a rock star in your position, because you're all rock stars and you can all be even bigger rock stars, because we talked about celebrities. So be the celebrity of your role.
I do want to add one more thing in there. John was saying about being able to look at your follow-ups and, you know, making how important it is to make sure they are on the right step and getting those follow-ups in there. The more you move into automation, the more it becomes less of getting on the phone with those people and just making sure your process works. So when that happens, what also happens in addition to all of that is that you then have the numbers to go look at and say, this isn't doing as well as I'd like it to do. What can I do to adjust this follow-up process? Do I need to change the verbiage in the emails? Do I need to change the timing? That you become more not the person that picks up the phone and calls 50 people in a day. You become more the person that's making those logical choices based on all of that data. And you need to have that data to make those logical choices.
Yeah, you become
That's all
almost
I
the
wanted to put out
conductor
there.
of the process. You're conducting it. You're saying, oh, over here sounds funny. I'm going to clean that up because I'm going to do this and this. And then pretty soon you just have this symphony that you're just conducting.
Right.
All right, I just want to cover two quick little things and we're going to go into open Q&A. As always, if you're interested in the PCM and really diving into reporting, schedule that free discovery with us. See how we can help you. Get our free perspective goal calculator, ettingertech.com success tools. It's free. Put your name in. It'll email you the goal calculator. You have to have goalposts in order to move forward. And then two other things I just want to comment on is Molly's Law Firm Admin Bootcamp. Many of you are a part of it. If you're not, I just put in the chat a link to read more about it. It is all about empowering the client service team to be truly effective, owning your role. And she has some of the most world-class people that do some of the coaching as well, that have written books on how to get referrals properly and the culture. And so if you're not part of the Law Firm Admin Bootcamp, click on that, read about it, consider joining it. And then the last one is from Molly as well. She's doing an estate planning and elder law marketing summit. She's hosting that in Denver on April 22nd and 23rd. I put the link in the chat. Today is the last day for the early bird pricing, but she's going to have BAMBIZ there and things like that. And her goal is the journey to achieving consistent $100,000 months for your law firm. Check it out. It's absolutely worth it. We're going to be there. We're going to have a table there. So we would love to meet you guys. But I think she has room for 200 or so people. So definitely sign up, whether it's just the client service coordinator, a team, whatever. Absolutely consider going to that. It will be invaluable to attend. It's only a day and a half. It's very quick. That is, oh, and then I did have tech news. We've just got into Clio Draft. It used to be Lawya. It's a drafting software, and Clio bought Lawya, so now it's Clio Draft. It looks amazing. We literally just got it last night, but we're going to keep you updated on that. It looks absolutely fantastic. It looks like hot dogs on crack. I've never done crack, so I really don't know, but I'm assuming. But that is our tech news for the week is Clio Draft. It was just announced at ABA. They've only been a part of Clio. Lawya has for, I think, what'd they say, 3 or 6 weeks? They just got incorporated.
Yeah.
And it's already just blowing it out of the wind. And I will tell you a best practice on it already is you can use Clio Grow to Clio Manage. Don't use Clio Grow. It's terrible. Best practice is Lawmatics, which sends it automatically to Clio. And then Clio, you click a button and you draft your documents. It looks absolutely spectacular in how it functions. So we'll keep you updated on how that goes as we try to find the Truman Show wall and break the system.
Yeah.
Do you have any quick tech news, Beth?
Nope, I think you got it.
Awesome. If you guys ever want just tech news, go on the ABA. I don't remember what it stands for. It's in Chicago every year. It's one of the biggest tech shows for attorneys. Like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 attorneys show up, and it's every vendor you could ever imagine. They always have tech news going on the ABA website as well. So, all right, I'm going to stop recording and then we'll go into Q&A.